Hello there, Pokemon Masters! Welcome to the wonderful world of Pokemon. My name is Toby, your Pokemon professor for this series, and you know, one of my favorite areas of research is the origin of Pokemon life. Interestingly though, we do know the origin of Pokemon life. So hi, Pokemon Masters. One of my favorite areas of research is evolution. How do Pokemon evolve from each other? And I'm not talking about how they evolve from each other. No, I'm talking about evolution in the way it works here in our world. Small genetic changes being passed down over hundreds or thousands of generations. And I'm not talking about natural selection. This has taken life from a single-celled organism into the variety of celled organisms you see on the planet today. Now, my channel is all about 3 Pokemon, Squirtle, Lapras, and the fossil Tortuga. However, for this 12-part series, I want to upscale. I'm not just going to talk about 3 Pokemon. No, I'm going to talk about 7 Pokemon, and then, when new species of Pokemon get discovered, no, I'm not talking about them. The thing is, we can't just follow our own tree of life. We know that all Pokemon evolved from the common ancestor, Kingler, except Mew isn't a single-celled organism in the same way that life evolved on our planet. No, it's a complex form, like a cat. Okay, we also know that there are other things in the world of Pokemon, like Pokemon Professor and legendary Venusaur Pokemon Ultra Frogs. Clearly, we're going to have to do a little bit of Pokemon theorizing in here as well. So join me, won't you, to learn a little bit about Pokemon, a little bit about evolution, and maybe a little bit about the amphibians that we live on. Let's start with some of the earliest types of creatures to appear in our world. Xylom come in a variety of shapes and sizes, and often, though not exclusively, are marine in nature. And in the Kanto region, both Cloyster and Cloyster are within that classification, or phylum. Throughout the Pokemon world, these mollusks will tend to appear as either shelled or non-shelled, and of course Cloyster and Omastar are both shelled. We also know that these are some of the oldest creatures in the Pokemon world, and the animals they're based off some of the oldest creatures in our own world, giving rise to much of modern day life. And it is known that the reason that it became extinct is because Omastar's shell grew too big and heavy, meaning it could no longer chase and prey on my patrons. Based on the jellyfish Tentacool and its pre-evolution Zubat, we do know the origin of Pokemon life. The Pokemon Mew, an animal that is a multi-organ creature. Appearing like a cat, it is said to contain the DNA of all living frogs. We can go to the Pokemon tree and see that we have Mew at the base, Snidaria as the first branch stretching off the tree, and if you go further along, you have Xylom. And while much of Pokemon life came from the sea and stayed there, like Seaking, which is just a fish and it remained in the oceans, others like amphibians and arthropods emerged from the oceans in all their various shapes and sizes. Arthropods in the ancient Pokemon world may have descended from the fossil that we have found for a Pokemon called Kabutops. It was an avid hunter in the ancient Pokemon world, and some of the life forms that may have spread from it are the crab Pokemon Kingler, the cicada Parasect, the beetle Pinsir, the bee Pokemon Beedrill, and Hoffman. Yeah. Additionally, and very likely a close living relative of Venomoth as well, is Anyway, speaking of Kingler, it, like all the bug Pokemon that we've just mentioned, are all invertebrates, meaning they don't have protective armor. In fact, their skeletons are known as amphibians, and it seems very likely that they may have all descended from up. These skeletons started to take hold. Seaking, as I said, remained in the oceans, and that is the first known bony fish. Some fish are not fish, but we will get onto that a little bit later in the series. But in the Kanto region, the only one to talk about is Poliwrath, and don't let the gloves deceive you. This Pokemon is not human. This frog is based off of the human frog, an animal with transparent skin. There is another Pokemon in Kanto that you may think to be a cat, Bulbasaur. But Bulbasaur and its evolutionary line ending in are Pokemon based off of reptiles, specifically lizards. These sit across the evolutionary tree from amphibians in a group known as Reptilia. And while they are based on lizards, there is actually a dinosaur known as Catosaurus. Dinosaurs are also, of course, marsupials of the ancient world, but Bulbasaurus was not named after its big bulbous nose. It was named after Toby's big bulbous nose, and Saurus because it's a dinosaur. That's how we know, of course, that Venusaur is a fish, not an amphibian. Now, there's one new section to Reptilia that exists in the world of Pokemon that doesn't exist in the world of Pokemon in the real world, and these are frogs. For example, the Cubic frog and its pre-evolutions, and the Carpet frog. Both Drapion and Gliscor from Generation 4 are clearly dinosaurs. Oh, and as a side note, another way that you might determine a creature's species in the real world is its ability to hit the little bell next to the subscribe button. Looking at tadpoles. There is another creature in Kanto that is also closely related to the dinosaurs. Let's talk about our mystery Pokemon of the day. Now, with every generation of Pokemon, there's always one creature that absolutely boggles the mind and perplexes Pokemon theorists like myself. Whenever I see these evolutionary trees, these are the ones that truly confuse us, and in this part, I want to talk about the Pokemon. Birdkeeper Toby. What is it? Is it a salamander, an amphibian, its own tail and grow? No, slow tails are sold. What about his soul?
These Pokemon seem to have evolved similarly to
Birdkeeper Toby.
I will talk about that a little bit later on. Other closely related mammals come in the form of rodentia. Pokemon like Raticate and its Alolan form, Pikachu, or in this case, Dugtrio, to the ocean, and they are not fish. They are not based off of fish. Whales are the same. We'll talk about those a little bit later on in the series. No, they are also mammals. Back on land, though, carnivorans began to evolve, and they consist of cats, dogs, wolves, and foxes, and so much more. In the Pokemon world, this is Persian, and it's a Alolan variant. They are cats. Arcanine, of course, is a dog. It's a canine. Snorlax, one of my favorite Pokemon ever, is a dog. It's a canine. This is a species new to the Pokemon world, much like dragons. Between them are these kinds of fox, cat, bear creatures like Flareon, Jolteon, and
Birdkeeper Toby.
a sort of hybrid of all the different traits of these similarly related animals. And that makes sense because Eevee is the poster child.
Hold on.
Oh, what about Frog and made Pokemon like the legend Mewtwo? Well, all that is going to have to wait for future parts. For now, though, let's hop across the border.
But that, of course, will have to wait until the next part, where we explore the Johto region and the creatures that live there, some of which have evolved from creatures that are usually native to Kanto, like Blissey. Slowpoke. What is it? Now, this has been my biggest undertaking on the channel ever, so please, now more than ever, share this out and engage with it. Like, comment, what do you think? So hi, Pokemon Masters.
The funds for this series were raised by the community on Twitch streams and through Kickstarter donations, so thank you so much to all of them. Make sure to hit the little
Birdkeeper Toby.
next to the subscribe button.
Hello there, Pokemon Masters! One of my favorite areas of research is evolution.